today. Welcome to Beauty Pioneers. Today we are talking about the business world of the hairstylist. You're going to hear some information about, of course, our clients and how they play a major role. And my beautiful guest Dawn will be here any minute, of course. So normally I like to start off with a little bit of current event, like what's going on in the news today, and when it comes to the beauty world. And I definitely like to be speaking about when it comes to the Black beauty world because we play such an intricate part. We play a major role, especially the Black women, when it comes to the beauty world. So I saw where they're saying that in the beauty world that the barbers, we don't really talk much about the men, but the barbers, I think it's like 412 mil that are losing based on them raising they have been raising their prices when it comes to the barbershop, like their haircuts and their services. So the prices of a haircut has rose to $70 to $100. And so that has become a big issue. So there's from what I was reading, I'm going to read it to you guys. It was talking about the fact that how a lot of the barbershops are becoming empty because of this growing numbers of barbers that are saying, hey, I know my worth, and this is why I'm raising the price. And this is a great segue into what we're talking about when it comes to the beauty world, period, and especially our Black clients, our Black entrepreneurs in the beauty world, hairstylists, barbers, so on and so forth. And the reason why is because we spend the most money, but we don't really what's the word? I'm playing the devil's advocate because I see the client's point of view. I was like, now that does make sense. But I understand the barbers. And one of the things I wanted to say before I even read the article and trying to give Dawn some time to pop up on here is the fact that in blacks, I have a good friend and he goes get his hair cut and he said to me, he was upset because he wasn't upset, but he was like, his barber was trying to raise the price. And I was like, well, how much for the kids? And I was like, well, how much is his haircuts for kids? And I think it was like $15, $20. I was like, oh my God, in 2025? And he was looking at me like, yeah. And I was like, do you know hair cuttery and smart style? They start at, I think it's 25. It's probably been risen up to like $32 a haircut, right? And so he was like, well, they got to do anything. I'm like, if you go to work, you expect to have somebody to thank you. If you go to work, you expect to have someone to when you go to work and you put in your hard on time and you put in your efforts and you've done everything, you're looking for a raise eventually. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you mean to tell me Black barbers are still getting paid what they were paying when I was a kid? Y'all got to come on. I was like, whoa, now that is to me crazy. But then we're the same people that we will invest in so many other things, right? That we think is significant. That it's really sad. We don't support our own. We will support others. Okay. So I'm gonna read the article to you, and you guys tell me what you think. All right. Really quick thing, what it's saying about it. Hold on. Reports and reports and evidence from 2025 suggest that some barbers, including Black barbers, right, have lost revenue due to raising prices as clients stretch out visits or cut their own hair at home in response to the increase in the cost, right? And I was like, okay, so it says clients attrition. Oh, I can't say this word. Attrition, ATT. Child attrition. When prices for a standard haircut climb to $70 to $100, in some areas, many clients reportedly started visiting the barbershop less frequently or stopped going altogether. I guarantee you that's us. Yeah, now I'm going to tell you in the other salons, because I worked in the other salons, I told you junior haircuts for a junior stylist to get a haircut. I think it's between, I think they started off at like 35, and then it just goes up. When you go to the next level, it's 75, and then it goes up from there, right? But they're doing things to your hair. The service is different, right? So they say rise of home grooming. The shift in client behavior has contributed to a boom in the home clipper market, a multi-billion-dollar industry with many individuals opting for a DIY approach to save money, right? So this is y'all approach. This is the client's approach to save money. They're saying, hey, forget that. You guys rather do the DIY. And I do understand that. Hey, Don, how are
Hey,
you?
beautiful. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm actually reading to them the study. Do you know I didn't talk to you about that today, where the barbers are losing clients because,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really big, it's like in the millions. The people are, and it's our people, they're deciding, because the barbers are moving their haircuts from 70 to $100. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
pay that. And I was telling them about our good friend, how he was taking his grandson to get his haircut, and he was like, oh, he trying to raise the price. And I was like, well, how much? $20. I said, what? That's the same price when we was kids that black
Right.
barbers were charging. You can't make this up. It's our own people. And in their mind, this is the crazy part that bothers me. And I was reading what it was saying, like they done started to do DIY, which I understand it is a market for that. People are tired of a lot of stuff. But I was like, the barbers? I didn't know barbers were even kind of going through that type of thing, right? I knew that I was like, I thought it was just a Miami thing. No, no, no. This is all right, because it's in the millions that it's affecting. And I just wanted to say, like, you go to work, you go to a 9 to 5, you on that job for how many years? 20, 10 years. Every year you're looking for them to tell you how great you're doing, and you're looking for a raise. Why would you think a barber for all these years does not should not raise his price, a black barber? Because if you go into the other salons, they don't they don't go back and forth with you about their price. They tell you, what stylist do you want? These are our prices. We got junior stylists, we got senior stylists, we got, they got different levels of stylists. Which one do you want? And you base it on the price that you're willing to pay. They're not asking for you to negotiate or, explain themselves. And the problem is, it was this guy on TikTok, and he was like, yeah, I told y'all barbers, and y'all was like, oh, I know my worth. And I said, that's the first problem. I don't need to tell you my worth. You will see my worth. You understand what I mean? You will see in my work that that's what it is. But the fact of, it's always our own people. And then y'all want first class service. And I do get it. Now, this is where it becomes, to me, I'm the devil's advocate when it comes to that. Because yes, you can't raise the price to $70 or to $100, and you don't want to wash the person's hair. You can't. You got to give them first class service when they're paying for a service like that. Now that is the difference. Whether it's a hair cuttery, they do that. A smart style in the Walmart, they do a cut and they do a wash. That is just a given, because other race of people, they want that treatment even at a lower price. So even to pay $25 is really not a big deal. I can't believe that men are being like that. But then you want top notch service. And I'm gonna be honest, those barbers are not bad as when we see the women hairstylists. They do be standing behind a chair. They do what you call, from what I've seen. I never really seen too much with them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I just never seen too much of it. And I'm just like, that is crazy to me. Don, do you want to add to that, or you just like, child, whatever?
In terms of the barbers, oh,
Girl,
the
the
barbers
barbers. This is
boycott.
current event information. I was like, it actually segues into us talking about why why hairstylists, barbers, or whatnot, we're broke. Well, not we. they're broke.
Hmm.
This plays an important role. It's not just the hairstylist, it's also the clients, because you don't even support your own people, you know? So and I, when I say support your own people, I don't mean support BS. I mean supporting where you know the service is good, you know that you're getting quality work, they're not giving you the BS, they're not dragging you or whatever. You know all these different things, but you're still like, I'm not paying that price. I don't understand that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it bothers me when it comes to that stuff. So it says focus on loyalty. They telling them what they need to do, but at the end of the day, the perception of the value, the challenge for barbers is effectively communicating the value behind a higher price point. Clients are generally more willing to pay a premium for a full service that includes extra light skin exfoliation, steam towels, rather than just a basic haircut at a high price. I absolutely agree with that. So you got to have a compromise if you're going to do that. And this is to the barbers, if you want that type of clientele, and there are people that are willing to pay these prices, especially when your business is good, but you have to believe in yourself, right? You have to step up your skill set. Like, so if you want to offer and you want them to pay that amount, then it has to be in this bracket, and you will attract those things. But you have to be able to offer the full service. You can't do a basic haircut and do your little brush thing behind the back and put that little cologne thing on it and call it a day. No, 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 no. You got to give them more if you want more. But to be haggling those prices in 2025, we going in 2026, is I couldn't even cut their hair. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not going to be arguing with somebody over that little bit of money. And you standing on your feet for hours. That's just disrespectful. And that just shows how much we value our people or whatnot. So we want to segue into Dawn. You got anything to say, Don, or you just like child, whatever, honey?
I have a lot to say.
Oh,
I don't know if it's relevant or anybody gives a two shits. But I think the state of the industry is based on the economy. A lot of people are like, well, you know, the economy has nothing to do with people getting their hair done. I believe it does
mm-hmm,
because, beauty services, when we have the money, okay, when black folks have the money, they are going to beautify themselves.
mm-hmm.
Okay. When they
Okay.
don't have the money, they are going to beautify themselves. So the fact that they aren't necessarily going into the salon and spending money on beauty beauty services. I think
Mm-hmm.
beauty services should have been cut long time ago because they were being serviced by unlicensed people.
Mm.
Okay. So in terms of um the boycott on certain products, when I look at the products, they should have never been using those products to begin with. So a
Wow.
lot of things that we're saying we're not doing anymore or I'm not supporting anymore, we shouldn't have been doing it from Jump Street. So
Right.
um whoop de doo that you're not.
I don't know why
you
I like
know
when people say whoop de doo. Whoop de
yeah, like
doo.
because Um, the only way you're going to get better is you have to stop these false traditions and narratives that we've fallen into in terms of the industry, from the salon suites to there's no more salon community, to there's no more stylist community. Stylists don't want to collaborate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We used to collaborate and come together, uh, build our portfolio. Hey, you're strong at doing hair. You handle the hair, and I do the makeup. That's how I helped my girls in my salon build their portfolio because they were like, I've never done that before. I'm like, look, you
Right.
guys need to get your work on a more professional platform, like into the magazines. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I started getting into makeup because we had to hire someone to come in and do the makeup for the girl. So it was like really costly. So,
Right.
once we sit and learn and watch, that's why we grew so much when we were in the salon. We advanced because we were working iron sharpening iron. So I switched over to helping them build their portfolio by doing makeup so they could build their hair portfolio. So, I already had a portfolio in terms of professional, magazine or print work. So I think the collaboration is not there. Everybody's very intimidated by the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And all I want to ask is, if we're competing, what's the fucking prize? If we're competing with each other, what's the prize? Because as far as I can see, ain't nobody won shit yet because you're still working like a slave.
I'm telling you, and you're not making any money.
Right.
You're not making any money. I love the way you segue into that, the whole thing about the being, basically a lot of hairstylists like are losing money. And yes, it definitely, the economy does play a role.
Mhm.
However, I was watching this thing, and I liked the one this video, and this lady said, and it's kind of like it always alludes to, like, how they said, too many chiefs, not enough Indians,
Mhm.
like salon suites. And everybody like, what happened to the culture? And it was like
Mhm.
that made a whole lot of sense, because you had women, not women, you had hairstylists that were going into creating suites, and they were not bosses. They
Mhm.
were they some a lot of them should have been employees. A
Mhm.
lot of them should have been in those salons, like, you know what I mean, should have been in the salons and doing on the job training. Like,
Mhm.
I remember when a client a hairstylist was new coming out of beauty school, and they would be like, I'm looking to where I can learn, I could take continuing education. You remember that? They want to do
Mhm.
continuing education. I heard you offer classes here, on the side. When it's slow, you can teach me some things. They'll come in, they'll want to be apprenticeship, they want to do apprenticeship, they will want to be an assistant. They're like, hey, I want to be an assistant, I want to wash and just teach me things, right? And they made their money. I think it was like for every shampoo, it was like $5 or something like that. But they were learning. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is, but it's giving me a hard time about being on this channel, because I can go live. I can go live on the other channel and it don't shut down. But for some reason on this, YouTube keeps shutting me down because it's Beauty Pioneers. I don't know what that
Really?
is. So it's gonna keep cutting me off. I see. Yeah, that's weird. But what was I saying, Don? I don't know if I'm like, what the heck is that? I thought it was my phone, but it's not my phone. So yeah, I was just saying, like, it was a community, and everybody knew,
Mhm.
hey, we got this new girl in. We would watch them for a little bit. We'd say, hey, you could tell she really hungry. And that head hairstylist, the owner, would say, you know what, I'm gonna take her under my wings, or him under my wings, and I'm gonna show them the process. I'm gonna teach them. And they were humble and they were hungry. They were those
Mhm.
two things, and they were willing to learn. And they understood that the community, they needed the community, that we need one another, right?
Right.
And then it got to this point where we really start making money, right? The beauty industry really was taking off. You had the lace
Mhm.
fronts came
Right.
in, you had all these different things come in, and people were like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So now they're like, well, I don't want to give my commission, I don't want to pay no commission, and I don't want to pay no booth rent. They get a little couple of dollars, they feeling themselves, right? And so then they go off and they say, I'm gonna do a salon suite. Because salon suite, they don't care about what skill set you have or whatever. They want to know if you're gonna pay that almighty dollar.
Right.
That's what it's gonna come down to. And so the businessman took advantage of that. Said, I'm a gut out this building. I'm gonna make all these salon suites. And look at these gullible people. A lot of them, I saw girls fresh out of beauty school having a salon suite, because when it was at home, they did hair, and they just, you know what I mean. So they was like, okay, I'm gonna go in this way. But you didn't have any. They didn't. It stressed to you business skills. There are a lot of you, like I always say, a lot of us, a lot of you guys don't have people skills. You don't know how to market. You don't know how to brand yourself. A lot of you base your business on the latest trend. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, oh, go to her. She known for lace fronts. So you going with that, and that lace fronts, believe it or not, that's gonna die out. Them big circles on the forehead, that's going to die out. And then what are you gonna do then? You know what I mean? So that plays a major role. And one of the things I love that Dawn said, she said, I I was in there, I was doing hair, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get into the makeup. She didn't have to go to, you really didn't have to go because you was a cosmetologist, so you could just do makeup. But you went and
Mhm.
you got makeup and you start helping your community,
Yeah.
right? Because you had a desire. A lot of the people that are in the industry now, they don't even have a desire to learn anything new. They just like, let me get this money now. It's more about the money versus the business. Don, what you got on that? Hello?
It's the dog eat dog world.
It's a dog eat dog world. Yeah,
Yeah, no, no, everybody is me, 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 me. And the beauty industry is not about us, it's about servicing the client. The most
right,
difficult thing in the industry, the hardest job is client relationships.
right,
So if you could conquer building a rapport with another person, that's the whole goal. That's
right,
why we're so lost because we can't even shampoo the hair. The building mechanism is broken, and it started with shampooing and cleansing the client's hair. That's where the trust bond starts. Because if you
mm,
can shampoo and cleanse this client's hair, that means she is completely, because she's vulnerable.
right,
She's in a submissive state. So if she's able to allow you to service her in that particular state, you know what I mean? You have to be very, very trusting of a person to
right,
lay back, sit back. I trust this person to clean my hair. So if you can't clean their scalp, as simple as that is, but as big as that is,
right,
if you can't simply cleanse the client's scalp, you're not ready for the floor. And that was the first thing that they taught us. You have to be able to shampoo the hair. You had to do customer relations, customer consultation, product information before you got on the floor
mm,
to even shampoo the client's hair. So you had all these steps before you even got on the floor.
right,
Now all the time you just get on the floor because you've been on the floor in your kitchen, right? So most of us started in the hood. The ones that can actually style hair and
mm-hmm,
haven't been to school, we've been doing hair for forever, right? Since we were
right,
little. We have an act for it. They say I was born to do hair. Because every hood has a barber and a stylist,
mm-hmm,
licensed, unlicensed. Every hood has a
right,
barber and a stylist in it. So we learn the aesthetics of the industry. We just don't go to school and indulge in the science that will carry us throughout the industry,
right,
because the industry changes out. Yes, you're doing it. If you're at home and you're in the hood and you're cutting hair, 9 times out of 10, it's a trend cut, right? We know barbers,
mm-hmm,
uh everybody know, you go to Little Willie in the hood
right,
in the project and get a haircut. He cuts everybody hair. Back to
mm-hmm,
school, $5. Back in the
right.
day, it was $5 for the to get a haircut. You was gonna get a Scully. He was out there at night using the street light and a long extension cord, hitting on the
Yep,
milk crate,
that's right,
right? Flip over
right.
milk crate. You sit on the milk crate and you stand there, and Lil Willie will cut your hair for back to school. Look here, dog. And I'm gonna call you. Tell Lil Joe to call and come back. He made his little. It was $5 a haircut.
He was living it
Okay,
up.
right now Lil Willie got to go to got to told him he need to go to barber school. So he tied, because of course everybody done counted his money. Everybody done kind of little Willie money in the hood, right? That's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. You know, we could
Yeah.
count some
Now they
money.
get jealous. You know they get jealous too.
Right, right.
Oh
So
no,
now
you
little
can't.
Willie gonna get knocked off the head, or he might get robbed, or whatever. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you have those things that you got to think about. Then look, Willie say, well, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and push it through and go ahead and get me a little barbershop. So he goes in and
Mm.
he get a little barbershop. So he's all and he inspires some other young fellas to cut hair also. So he
Right.
put them up in the barbershop, and it began to flourish. Why? And the barbershop and beauty salons became the pillar of the community.
Mm. That's right.
Right? The beauty and
That's right.
barbershops were the pillar of the community. And when they disappeared, as you can see, the structure of the community just kind of just fell to the wayside.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
kind of had all these different things kind of unraveling within our community because the beauty barber business was really the foundation of our community. Everyone went there for consultation. You can find the carpenter. You knew the beauty and barber salon is the community. You know everybody there. Uncle
I
John, Uncle Tom, Uncle Willie, Uncle Billy. Um,
I don't know if you saw. I sent you the video. I posted a video on my story on Instagram about the bad hairstylist, right?
Mhm,
And I was like, let me look at the comments on what was being said. And they were showing the
mhm.
hairstylist that be going through trauma with her man. And she like, girl, stand in the dryer. And she
Yeah.
crying on the phone. I thought it was funny, but I
Mhm.
was like, it's sad too, because I was like, that's the reality of what clients deal with. That's why a lot of clients prefer to do virtual services
Mhm.
than to go into salons now, right? And so, but I read a comment, and the lady said, she was a hairstylist. She said, girl, I used to stop doing my clients' hair for Ray when Ray came in the shop and he was selling them fake bags, and I would be sitting over there shopping for my bags, and I would go ask my client for the money so I could buy the bags. Ha ha ha
Mhm.
ha. And I was like,
Yeah. Yep, they would ask the client, "Can you pay now? Because I gotta go pay my light bill. Can you pay now because I have to go get some products? Can you pay now? Because I gotta go buy my kids some lunch. You know, whatever the reason you had to pay. So many horrible and unethical practices begin to spill over into our community, into the beauty culture. Unlicensed practices. They just didn't care no more because people were more concerned with the style as
mm-hmm,
opposed to the overall health of the hair and the scalp. So it gave a lot of unlicensed people power, you
right.
know, and they kept on destroying and destroying and destroying clients' hair. Some licensed stylists too that just
Mm-hmm.
were not gonna do any education. You would enter salons like that where it's like, oh no, you can't tell me anything. I went to school, I know what to do. You can't tell me how to put this relaxer on. Ma'am, that lady is burning. You cannot put that relaxer on and go watch the stories. You can't go. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna watch a whole episode
Wait,
of Young and
Don,
the Restless.
Don, I gotta tell
uh,
you the story about I was in the salon. It wasn't in Miami. I was in the salon.
uh,
And the lady had them found the salon owner had them found the Lord. Oh my God.
mm,
Don. So she done, remember I gotta be in there early. So she done put these relaxers on these people's head. And she said, let's get in the circle, let's pray. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't even know if these people believe in what you believe in. You just,
right.
you know what I'm saying? But that's how people live. And that, remember the salon said, God's precious hands. You be like, what they got to do with doing hair? Now, we seen that all of deuce deuce. I be riding by, I be like, what is, I said, child, I already know they black and I know they still do
Right.
crips.
Right.
I already know what that salon is about,
Right.
right? And we get in the line, we get in the circle, and we holding hands, and I'm looking at her, and she want to go into deep prayer, like, hallelujah, and she want to speak in tongues, and I'm like, now we 15 minutes in deep, and I'm looking at the women, they like shaking, but they're shaking because they're burning. They didn't
Mm,
catch the Holy Ghost. They like looking at me, and I'm like, So finally, one girl was like, she opened eyes, she looked to see if I was looking, and she was like, I said, come on. So I took her and I watched her. Do you know I got reprimanded for that? She was like, don't you ever in the middle of me praying to God, you know what I mean, to, interrupt when the spirit is moving. I said to her, that is not the time or the place to be doing something like that. That lady could have lost her hair. She had burns in her head. We was going into 20 minutes.
She started praying.
Dawn, she didn't even work to relax her through. She just started praying, and I was like, I love God. I know we love the Lord, but we gotta have professionalism, and that's why I never let go of the other races of hair salons, because I knew when I got there, I knew I could have structure. I could have structure. I could have continuing education. I could have professionalism. I knew I had to. I was poised no matter what salon I went into, but I know I had to carry myself a certain way. When I went to our salons, I was more rejected because I didn't look like everybody. I ain't coming there with my hair sticking on my head or anything like that. So I was more rejected because they was like, "Well, who she thinks she is?" But when they talked to me, they were like, "Oh, she cool. She down to earth, right?" But I never fit in there. But I'm just like, you praying. The prayer was 30 minutes. I had to rinse the lady out. I had to get the other ladies. It was like, please, me too. I'm burning. So I'm rinsing these people out, putting the treatment in their hair and putting them under the dryer because they scalp was on fire. She done went 30 minutes into prayer. I said, you can't make this stuff up. And they ain't gonna fuss me out to my, oh, you trying to take my clients. No, you trying to lose your clients. Them people
Wow.
like that. And they over there, they tell me like, listen, I love Miss Patty, but oh Lord, I didn't say the lady name. I love her, but she got to get perfect. Like I don't want to do. I left church. I left church on Sunday. It's Wednesday. What we doing? You know what I mean? So it's just is what it is. Hello. It just is what it is when it comes to that. I'm like, we have to be able to separate the two of them. And so that is a big deal, whether y'all realize it or not. Like, and nobody want to come, y'all gonna get a certain kind of clientele if you have God's anointed hands beauty salon.
Yo, yeah. They had to do a business class on that to
Mm-hmm.
tell them to stop putting Jesus in their business. And the gospel music, stop playing the gospel music in the salon, and this baptizing the people and all that kind of stuff. They had to give a whole seminar on that because it was just, and it was like, what do you mean? We even had the conversation in the salon because I would play gospel music on
Uh-huh.
Sunday. And they were like, everybody doesn't want to hear gospel. I'm like, we listen to WEDR in here, honey.
Yes,
And on
yeah.
WEDR play gospel music on Sunday from this time
Uh-huh.
to this time. And the shop is open from this time to this time. And if I open up the shop
Right.
and I turn on this radio, because we didn't have no program music and all that kind of stuff
Right.
back then. We used the radio. We turned on the radio. And 99 Jams was it. And they played the gospel music. Honey, they, they, they were gonna hear the gospel. They were gonna hear the gospel music. I was not gonna not play gospel music in the salon. I felt like I understood what they were saying from a professional standpoint. Um, However, respectfully, I think it's up to the owner if they want to play music or gospel music in their business. They have a that's
Mm-hmm.
what how they feel. They feel like that's a blessing. They feel like they're open. It's a blessing for their business for them to play gospel music, whatever the reason. You know what I mean? For me,
Right. But
if it's on the radio, it's on the radio, and then I'm playing it. I'm
wait,
listening to it.
did you go as far as anointing people head? Because this lady was anointing people head.
No, no. You could pray like when I opened my business, my other business. I had
Uh-huh.
my pastor to come and pray over my business. I
Mm-hmm.
did have him to come and bless the business and stuff
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
that's normal, right?
Yeah, but was it was no one in there when he came to do it.
Right.
It was no one there. He prayed over the business and we just moved forward just like that. And I think he did it for like three of my salons.
Right.
He came and he prayed and that was that. But it wasn't something that, you know, and they used to tell me when I was open on Sunday, they was like, girl, Sunday is the Lord's day. You can't open up on Sunday because I would go to 7 o'clock service so I
Yep.
can open the salon up, for 12. And so
Right.
this old lady, she was like, girl, where you going? I was like, oh, I gotta get to work. And she was like,
Uh-uh.
work? What do you do? I was like, I have a hair salon. And she was like, and you open on a Sunday? Oh
Woo!
my God, what do you do, girl? You would have thought I
That's
was
the
gonna bust
devil.
hell
They
wide open. But I
they
was
was
like,
like, let's
honey,
pray for
this
her.
how I pay for my child's school, my child in
Right.
private school. I pay his tuition by working on Sunday.
So let me talk about some of the reasons why as well. Um, hello. I see you, Bernard 9082. Thank you. Um, it says reliance, some of the reasons why instead they're losing their clientele. It says lace front installs, we know that, and then viral looks. A lot of people and I'm like, this makes sense. Instagram hairstyles, many black hairstyles chase. Many black hairstylists chase lace front installs, viral looks, Instagram styles, short term trends. And this is what we were talking about. A lot of you, like, I see them say, oh, where you located at? But they just coming to you for the aesthetics. And I saw the lady said, and it always makes me think of you, Dom, when she said they say of the fact of now the salon is no longer based on creativity or the science, is now based on just aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Who can do this, who can do the hairstyling part of it, but all of the other stuff is gone out of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you see that, it's like that is why you're losing business. You know what I mean? Because a lot of time, and I see where it's, clients are saying like, well, I want a hairstylist that use Marcel's, or I don't like the plug-in flat iron and all this stuff or whatever. I'm like, you're judging it by what you see instead of the what they're both doing the same thing. They're both creating heat, right? And so I'm like, it's such, if we need to be able to pair the two together to give the clients the education and the hairstylists the education, and pair those two together so they can work together and understand why things are the way they are. I think that hairstylists morale and the way they look at the business is such a bad state. I think that's the biggest issue. I know a lot of hairstylists are saying, "Oh, it's because of these salon suites that this is happening," and I get it, but it's not really the salon suites, because yes, they're going in there and they're using the salon suites, but they're making bad business decisions. They're not looking ahead; they're looking for the right now. You know what I mean? They may have a falling out with the salon owner, or it's time to pay their booth rent. The salon owner gave them, say, okay, you don't have the money today. I'm gonna give you another week. Now it's time for you to pay. They don't want to pay, so they skip out on you. So we got the skip outs, right? So we got all these different reasons why, but it's not just the salon suite. It is the business mind behind that. And Don, I wanted you to talk a little bit about when you came into, what made you decide to open a salon? Were you ready when you opened your first salon? What was your mindset at with that? And how did you know to open up a salon? And how did you keep the longevity where you opened up 6 salons?
Um, I was following a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
The book says you need to work in the industry for at least 5 years before you open your salon.
Yep.
And they recommended what type of salon. They recommended how to build client relationships. They
Mhm.
recommended classes. It's like they had a full script on how to get started in the industry. It was in the My Lady textbook.
I remember my lady.
Yeah,
Mhm.
My Lady textbook. It gave you, the business strategy. Of course, it was a basic blueprint for salon management. But if you wanted to advance, of course, you could take you a business course, which I
Mhm.
did. You know, I did all the steps that the book told me.
Right.
Um, from client relationships to stylists. What I would recommend people that are looking to open up a salon,
Mhm.
don't wait until opening day to have a staff or look for a staff. You should
Wow.
already have a staff prior to opening day. So when you open, you already ready to go. You should have your receptionist, your shampoo person, your stylist. You should already have your team ready to go before your doors open. And you need to have mandatory meetings with your
Mhm.
staff. You have to have uh what it is, a growth module for them, like what
Mhm.
areas they want to improve on. we
Right.
had we had training day. A lot of the girls used to bitch about it. They didn't want to come in
Mhm.
and do it, because they were already making money. Right, they were already making money. They didn't want to have to be bothered with any additional training.
Right.
So you go in and you find you a new set of girls that were interested in training. And that's what I
Mhm.
did. And that's
Mhm.
what I opened my salon with, the next set of trained, ready to work professionals. You always have a seasoned professional
Mhm.
and some interns. And that's how you build out I was able to build out my team. But back then it was people were had a lot more passion, a lot
Right.
more a lot more integrity
Mhm.
in the industry, and a lot of them, they were passionate about what it is that they were doing. They made a
Mm.
lot of money. Even today when I see them now, they're like, "Oh my god, I've never made the amount of
Dang.
money that I made in your salon anywhere else." The training, they was like, no one ever took the time to like really teach us how to build a clientele, work on client relationships. And if you have a
Mm.
problem with the client, do the training before the client gets there.
Right. Right.
Right? That's why you do your training on Monday or Sunday. Sundays
Mhm.
and Mondays were training days for us. So
Right.
anything that you needed to work on, and I was there to help them. So if you needed to strengthen your hair cutting, you can do it
Mhm.
before the client gets here. Don't
Yes.
ask me to do this in front of the client, because what it does is it tells the client that you're not ready.
The client saying I need to go to her, not you.
Exactly. So to avoid that, but they still did it anyway. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And I didn't like that. And the stop,
Right.
and of course the customers didn't like it, because they was like, "Why you be giving me these children, these kids, or this person to
Right.
practice on me?" And I'm like, "I'm not doing that." You know what I'm saying? So it's like that underhanded stuff that I really wasn't paying attention to, that I should
Right.
have
Yeah.
been. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
they're sabotaging your business.
Mm.
Right? They
Right.
know the customer is gonna feel uncomfortable, right? So it's
Mhm.
intentional, because
Right.
you could have come in on your day off and learned this particular skill, or you could have done it on your mannequin prior to. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I regret that part of the industry. I should have never gave them bitches no customers. You there? I'm having a hot flash. If you have some food,
I'm here.
you there, Lee?
Yeah.
I was having a hot flash.
You was having a hot. I was like, I don't know why. I guess it's just
Uh-huh.
gonna continue to do this. I don't even know what it is. I want to get a phone or whatnot, but I don't know. I said maybe I need to get another phone or whatnot, but it's just so weird to me. But
Are you doing your updates on your phone?
oh, that's probably what it is. I need to do
Mhm.
updates on it. Mm,
So
dang.
yeah, you done.
But yeah, you know, just listening to you talk, I'd be like, when I first found out about you, I'm like, well, where was she? But you was way down south. I didn't know nothing about the South down here, you know. So you was down here and you was, you know, doing what you needed to do and putting people on the map, you know what I mean? And just like helping. And to be honest, I don't know too many salons that black salons that was really doing it. And I'm sure it was a
Mhm.
lot because I remember Ted. I remember
Yeah,
Ted, he
help
had a
them pass
big,
state board. They
huh?
couldn't pass state. I said they couldn't pass state board.
Right,
I would
right.
help them study for the state board, and it's like, nobody have to know. We just, okay, it's just between me and you. You didn't pass, no problem. You can take it as many times as you want to. They was like, really? I was like, yes, yes. And when you pass, we're gonna have a party, and that's what we did.
I think the saddest thing is when they came up with this whole okay the specialty things. I remember even learning about. I'm like, what is that? A specialty? I'm like, well, you might as well get it now. And I'm grateful that school isn't as expensive as it was back then. But so let me go. Let me read a little bit more. Um, one of the things that reason why we losing money too is because um they talked about the unlicensed hairstyles, which I'll get into in a little bit, but it's saying like we need to invest more in healthy hair programs, which you and I talk about a lot of creating these courses to help clients to have the healthy hair and those different things. There's nothing wrong with the extensions and the weave, but you still can have healthy hair. Just take care of yours. Put yourself first. I see you over there. You all right?
Girl,
Woo! Woo! Drink you some water. You got some cold water?
yes.
But you look so pretty. You don't even know that you. I was like your face is just glowing. Yeah, it's like you're just glowing. Long-term
Thank you.
clients, maintenance plans, reoccurring income. Those are the things that help us build the clientele. It talked about the unlicensed undercut. The unlicensed hairstylists, how basically they undercut the industry as a whole, the market. The prices, they drove the prices down. They removed accountability. They created an unsafe competition. I remember that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now, Don, you got me
Hmm.
making me feel hot. And confuse clients on value. They confuse the clients on value because they like, you know, and they mind clients was like, who did such and such did your hair? You knew who did your hair, and they thought that that was the value. But in that it's like, oh, she did your hair, but you getting bald spots. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the client more so looked at the aesthetics of things versus what was actually happened to their hair. What that hairstylist had to do to get to the place where you had the actual style, right? It was funny because I love a good haircut. I absolutely love a good haircut. I don't know, and I was at this salon and I was telling my hairstylist like my favorite sound in the world is clippers. I don't know why. It's like Don, I'm getting hot. It's like the clippers. It's like the clippers is like freedom. Like I'm
Yeah.
about to take off all of this and it's going to be freedom for me.
Hmm.
And so I loved it. I remember when I grew my hair out, I hated that I couldn't hear that noise and I wasn't really my true authentic self, right? And there's so many of us going into these salons or so many of us starting a business and we're taking our eyes off the reason why we got into it, right?
Hmm.
And we're focused on how can I make money in this way? How can I make money in this way? Instead of giving the people real, true authenticity. And you were talking about that today because we was talking about posting stuff, just a simple post. And I wanted to post Yanti because the girl said, "Girl, that 27 piece cute," and Rick Ross
I
baby
saw
mama.
that.
Rick Ross baby mama went off on her. She said, "You bald head alopecia." And I said, now I told Don, I was like, I really want to share this, right? Because she was like, I don't have no, and she was showing you her hair. She was like, I have hair. and she's proud of that. You know what I mean? And she wear the wigs and everything. But the key point, if you don't miss the message, she was like, I wear my mohawk with my own hair because I can. And when I want to go long, I can wear long because I'm gonna make sure that that person who touching my hair, they're gonna do right by my hair, and I'm gonna put my hair as a priority. That's really what she was saying. Even though she had many, many curse words in there, and whoever made that comment, honey, I said, honey, I know they logged all the way off, turned the phone off, and everything because she went all the way in, all the way in it. And she said, if you want her to be wearing your wigs and your weaves, you got to pay her 22.22. But yeah, so just going back to the whole culture of things, I think that a lot of hairstylists, with like we said, the hairstylists that were not licensed, the community as a whole has lost their trust. They don't see the value in hairstylists anymore because you don't even know. I awaken hair clients to be able to say, hey, find out if they even have a license.
Yeah.
Ask them questions about your product, the product that they're using. If they're not willing to do any of those things, get up and get out of the chair. It's okay. You know what I mean? Because if they're not taking the time, and on that movie video too, they was like, girl, you letting her do your hair, and the girl hair was sticking up on her head. She had just walked up to the lady. You saw the lady was eating Cheetos on the video that I posted. She said, she was eating the crunch. She's like, and she just ruffled it, and the girl was like,
She's like, what's going on here?
And it's funny, but at the same time, that's why we lost.
Yeah.
And listen, the community as a whole, the beauty industry as a whole, black or white salons, it is that the economy is affecting a lot of people. Now we cannot say that that's not really happening, but we was losing people before the economy came.
Yeah.
We was losing people by the droves. We were losing clientele by the drove, and now we got clients that are seeking. Y'all be amazed at the clients that I get emails from that are seeking. They just listen. I'll take you virtually. Just walk me through, because I will not go back into that hair salon with that unprofessionalism, that that disrespect of my time, all of those different things. So now we talked about that. What are the things that we do know? I think one of the biggest things that hairstylists should do if they really want to be in this industry for a long period of time is business classes. Understanding your money, understanding how to say, because a lot of us, somebody has said that a lot of us have trauma when it comes to money because of our childhood and how we grew up. We don't have good relationships when it comes to money. Like, who taught you, Don, to know how to, like, you know what I'm saying? When you was opening the salons, were you scared?
No. I'm a fearless female.
Yeah.
I don't get scared. I'm from the streets. um, but when I started beauty school, I was in a salon and I don't know where I was. I really can't remember, but I remember someone saying to me, because I would take business courses when I was in beauty school and when I came out. So my mentor was having a class and she invited me. And this guy was sharing his story. And he was an accountant. And he was saying, look, you hairstylists make a lot of money. You guys get in a lot of trouble because you don't file your taxes. And what happens is the tax people, your material things don't support what it is that you have on paper. And it was always an issue with stylists because you never know how much money they make because it was on a daily basis. It was a cash business. So the person told me, they were like, well, this is what I suggest to you. The money that you make daily, you need to put it away. Just put it away because it's cash money. There wasn't any credit card machines back then. It was cash that people were paying when they got services done, right? Back in the day. So they would pay me, and I would only like spend my tip money on like gas, um, and on food. So by the end of the week, I would have $1,000. I could actually see my money like a paycheck because I had put my money up. So I started out like that, and I kept that same system, believe it or not, throughout my business. I just would make straight deposits, and I would continue to live off my tips. I would
Mm-hmm.
live off my tips, and I would just bank all my money.
Uh-huh.
I would just bank my money, and that was my system. And other stylists would be like, "Don, how like, how you have your money?" And I would share the story with them, and they was like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
no, I can't do that." Like my sister, and it was
Mm-hmm.
so hard for them to pay booth rent. I'm like, "How?
Mm.
You make your booth rent. Why is Saturday? Why you wait till Saturday to pay your booth rent? You know,
Right. Yeah.
your booth rent
My
is
booth was paid
Tuesday."
early in the month, in the week.
Right. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like you should like your booth rent is off your first three clients. And
That's
then the
right.
rest of your money is yours. But they don't do that. They get all
Mm-hmm.
their money during the week. And then
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday, they stressing trying to get their booth rent. So
Mm.
now Saturday they working ridiculous hours because they gotta pay booth rent. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
they trying to go home with some money, but they done spent all of their money throughout the week on car, food, lights,
Right.
phone,
They got to
boyfriend,
go out.
girlfriend. Yeah, boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend. And so that's how that cycle begins of no money. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
a cash cow. The money come in and they like, oh, I'm, a barber or a
Right.
hairstylist.
Right.
I make $700 a day. They figure
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna make it again tomorrow,
Right.
right? And it worked for a while until
Mm-hmm.
it just went away. Just
Right.
woke up and you wasn't making any money like that anymore. You
Especially
know?
summertime, because people was
Exactly.
traveling, holidays and stuff like that. They weren't doing it like that.
Right.
Summertime was really where it was like, listen, you got to you got to be like you say, saving the money or whatever. So by
Mhm.
summertime, it's not affecting you as hard.
Yeah.
So definitely, definitely. And this is some of the things that hairstylists need to really take in if they really want to pursue it. Because yes, the economy is happening, but people still eating. Trust me. It's a lot of people still eating. It's a lot of people, especially let me tell you one thing about the black community. I work in I listen to people and they're like, oh my God, it is. I was looking at this video and the lady was saying, I have to work 40 hours to pay my rent in my light, 40 hours a week. I was like, let me read these comments because I'm like, is everybody thinking what I'm thinking? And it was like, it's called adulting. Like
Right.
you got to pay your bills. You know what I mean? And she was
Hmm.
really, really devastated. And I was looking at her and I was like, we don't care what happens in the industry in the world, period. Black people have learned to survive off of nothing. We
Hmm.
have learned to make things happen when we couldn't see what could happen. We create out of nothing. Those are the gifts that God has given us. He's always given us ways to make money, to be able to go through the hardest of times and make it out. We've always been able to do that. If you look back on your life and you look back at things, you'll be like, dang, I can't believe we made it out of that. So we
Hmm.
are very resilient people. But a lot of times we can be resilient, but we can be very ignorant. And we rather choose to be ignorant and lazy with our mindset instead of trying to figure out how can I make something work for me? How can I create this? We're more so we get into a point of frustration and then we quit the situation, we quit it. And then we look for something else. But that probably most likely is your calling and you got to stick with it even through the bad time, even when it looks like nothing is going to happen. If you're a hairstylist, and I know what that's like, being a hairstylist, boy, you could be bipolar. You cannot depend on you cannot depend on other people money wise. You have to depend on yourself. You have to look at the situation and figure out a way. Ask God to teach you, figure out a way where you can start making different streams of income. It is not in one set of income. And the beauty world has so many avenues that you can go through. You know, you can be in the funeral world and do hair. You know, people don't think about that. You can be in movies, you can be in the medical world, you can be in hair replacement, you can be in platform artistry, you can be the beauty world is kind of, to me, always reminds me of the medical world. There's many branches to the trees. So I'm so glad we made it at 8 o'clock, even though I done clocked out over and over again. I think next week you're gonna have to open up because I don't know what it is. It's not letting me open up on my phone. So Don, is gonna have to be just me and you. You gonna have to open up, honey. Either that, unless I get a phone this week. So I'm like, maybe that's what it is, but it's weird, and I don't do updates on it, so that's probably what it is. It's like
Oh yeah, you got to do some updates because it's the end of the year, so they're updating the system. I had to do the same thing with my phone.
they so petty. They're so petty.
Yeah,
So
if you don't update, it's gonna slow down and have those bugs.
yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I pray that this video has helped you guys to understand a little bit of the beauty world. And if you are a hairstylist that's trying to make it and do better, continue to follow us and watch these videos, because we are here to help not just the clients, but also our hairstylists. And hopefully, the hair clients that are watching, you get to understand how important you are to that hairstylist, and that hairstylists understand that those clients are the ones that feed your children and help you go through life as well. So we got to work together as a community. We will see you guys next week, same time, 7 p.m. on Beauty Pioneers. Love you guys to pieces. Smooches.